Joe Zekas. I'm in the car with Joseph Askins.
Only on my byline and when I sign my name on my checks.
And we're going riding in the car this morning, right?
That's right. We are on Lakeshore Drive. Trying to get over to the left here.
We're running north on Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, we just
headed into town.
Headed into town.
Joe, you're fairly new to Chicago. What's it like when you see something like this for the first time?
The first time I ever drove on Lakeshore Drive was back in the summer of 2000, actually. I came up here during the summer with some friends from college. We were driving up from Columbia, Missouri, and we were going to a concert at the Riviera. And we had directions printed off of MapQuest, and none of us really knew our way around the city, so we were just sort of going by what the printout told us. And we stayed on 55 and got on to Lakeshore Drive, and it was quite a stunning sight. Never having been up to the Great Lakes, really, not having seen Lake Michigan up close, or just a city of this size. From a car, at least, from a car that I was driving, it was, I wouldn't say it was an overwhelming experience, but it was certainly eye-opening for a 19 or 20-year-old.
For a youngin'.
For a youngin' from Arkansas, yeah.
I'm an old guy, and every time I drive up this drive, this time of day, I think of Jay Gatsby crossing the Queensboro Bridge into Manhattan, and seeing the city, as he said, rising up in heaps of white and sugar lumps made out of a wish and non-olfactory money. He said, and I think it rings true, that the city is always the city seen for the first time, and its first wild promise of all the mystery and the beauty in the world. What a stunning sight this is, Joe.
Yep. And I would say that there is a lot of this city that you tend to see for the first time every time you drive it, just because, you know, this cityscape is a lot different than it was when I came here in 2000. A lot of the things that we're seeing off to our left,
which is the South Loop high rises.
South Loop. A lot of these things were not here 10 years ago.
So Soldier Field looked like the stadium at Nuremberg instead of a space-age creation.
Yes, it did.
We're looking at the Museum Park complex off to our left up ahead here.
And in fact, when I lived here for a short time right after college in 2003 and 2004, once again, driving Lakeshore Drive, it was a different experience than the one that I had had just 3 years prior.
We're heading through the museum campus right now. Field Museum is off to our right. You're seeing the Sears Tower, Willis Tower over there. The rusted red steel of the Inland Steel building. Aon building, formerly the Standard Oil, was known as Big Stan when the Hancock was known as Big John. The Lakeshore East complex is straight ahead of us, and of course the lake off to the right. When I first came through Chicago, Joe, it was 1962, and the Prudential Building and the Board of Trade had just barely over 40 stories, were the tallest buildings in the city.
Wasn't the Prudential Building was sort of where you would go for your...
There's an observation deck. Was an observation deck up on top, and now it's dwarfed by a dozen buildings almost within spitting distance of the top of the Prudential Plaza. And we're looking at dead on at the Trump Tower, which is stunning from almost any view.
Obviously it's still, I guess it's spring now, but it's early spring, and we don't see any foliage on the trees yet. and it only becomes nicer as you drive through here in the spring and summer months when you have
Going past Millennium Park at the moment.
yeah, just parks full of big full green trees here.
And it won't be too long before we start seeing the boats in Monroe Harbor off to our right, and sailboats out on the lake. That's Outer Drive East, the broad building there, and we're making the curve on Lakeshore Drive. The old timers will remember the S-curve here before the drive was relocated. Frequently stalled traffic out in this location for half an hour or more at a time.
Is that essentially two right angles that you were going through?
Lake Point Tower there, and we're about to see the vista, the dramatic vista that opens up along the river, and we'll come back and take a closer look at that. Now we're crossing the river. River East complex in Streeterville. We see Olive Beach straight ahead of us.